Hello everyone and welcome back to PGP Motorsports Park for the first race and LCQ of the fall season. Here we are gridded up. Got quite a lot of people coming out today. It's still sometime in July, so it still feels like summer, but we'll be going into that fall season and it'll start cooling up as the season progresses.
But yeah, this is our LCQ. Top 4 racers get to move on to the final where they can really increase their championship hopes. But of those top 4, starting off in front, looks like Colin Flynn, I believe, is in... I think that's Colin Flynn. Hard to tell from this distance. But in second is Manny. In third is Randy. And in fourth is Todd.
Yeah, we got
took
some...
off his Ferrari suit.
We got some high performers down here. Some unfortunate heat races led to them being down here, and they're looking to battle it out for that top 4 to make it up into the final. It's going to be harder for other people to progress.
Worth noting that Todd and Randy are usually finalists, but here they come down the front straight, and we can pan to that flag bearer.
Yep, we'll be panning over to the flag bearer, getting a nice view of the whole track.
Yep.
He's going to be letting them out late, it looks like. And the flag's waved and they're away. We're going to see some people vying for the top positions there. Looks like 4 wide for like the top 3 already going into roller coaster. No way this ends well. They're going to be fighting super hard. People in the back. I don't see anyone quite off the track quite yet, but they'll be going into double apex. I know that if people can survive the roller coaster, people make their mistakes here.
Manny
as well.
fighting for the lead, but
Manny
doesn't get it. Todd is right behind first. Wow. It's a shame I missed who's on first. I'm pretty sure that's Colin Flynn, who's going to be defending and taking first.
Yeah, Colin Flynn leading the way up in first. Todd in third in the Ferrari suit, looking to put it to the good name, but it could be wearing a curse, who knows. And that fight for the top 3 is bumper to bumper as they're bumping each other going into the couple turns here. 2 wide into this sequence of turns. They're going to be compromised on their exit. Someone's off the track. Huge plume of dust. They're going to be trying to rejoin the track, and they're going to have all their momentum lost.
Yeah,
and they're just going to hemorrhage positions.
Yeah, one of the new races out here lost us in the back. You got to keep it on track. It's a good lesson to learn early in the season.
Yep, keep it in the lines and you'll find yourself more successful than you think.
But now, coming back in front, I can get those names updated for you now. As Todd took the lead. Wow, good job, Todd. So we got Todd, Manny, and it's Aiden Flynn. Not Colin Flynn, my bad. Aiden in third and Aiden Romine in fourth. We got both Aidens in the top 4.
That's going to make it difficult with commentary there.
But we got Todd, Manny in the red race suit. And both Aidens going side by side.
Yeah, we have a fight between the Aidens as one Aiden dives up onto the inside of the other. He has that line secured, but Aiden's going to go for the cutback, but that just isn't enough as Aiden has more momentum to get through through turn 2, and Aiden holds onto the position.
Now, for disambiguity, Aiden Romine is in the blue shirt, and Aiden Flynn is in the white shirt. They're both wearing
battle
red
for the
gloves.
lead into roller coaster. Manny making a move on the outside of Todd.
And Manny takes the lead. Manny takes the lead of the race. Todd's going to want the lead back, but I don't think he's going to fight too hard because he knows that he's got a lot of pressure behind him. Randy's also really pressuring Aiden Flynn to see if he could get into that top 4. So we have a pretty intense battle in the top 4. You don't want to be in 5th here.
2 wide between the 2 Aidens, Romain and
Flynn going
through bus stop.
Round the outside of top of the world. That was a bold strategy that didn't quite pay off.
Aiden, it looks like he was able to gain the position, right?
He was able to get that position right back. You don't want to overtake in top of the world, because while you think you may get an inside of bus stop, you're going to go side by side through bus stop, and that outside of bus stop turns into the inside of turn 7. So you're ultimately going to lose that position and lose a lot of time.
Another battle for the lead. Todd dives up onto the inside through turn 3 and gets the position from Manny.
He closes that door, takes that position away from Manny. I think Todd and Manny may just go back and forth, but we've got a good pressure cooker going on for those positions 3 through 5 here. Also in the hunt, in P6, is Nick, one of the new racers out here, who's going to be seeing if he can catch up to Randy and the Aidens to see if he could find his way into the final in his first league race. Get the gaps up for you. As you can see, Nick is a second behind Randy.
All right, looks like there's a battle between Randy and Aiden, but they're too wide. There's a little bit of contact as they bump.
And Randy slips by.
As they bump each other, but Aiden's going to be fighting back, firing right back immediately, but he's going to be stuck on the inside. He's going to go for the cutback, but just doesn't quite have the momentum to get past Randy there.
And really unfortunate, Aiden Flynn slips back behind Nick. Now Nick is in 5th. Nick actually has a shot at getting into the final. I'm glad I remembered his name. So Aiden is giving, the Aiden in 5th, Aiden Romine, is giving hand signals to Nick, who's behind him, saying, hey, don't fight too hard. We want to catch up to 4th so we can get into the final. If you fight me, we're both going to lose. But something tells me that Nick isn't going to pick up on that. Just kidding. He just gave the hand signal back, saying, yeah, let's go. I've eaten my own words, as we have a huge squabble going into turn 1. This isn't for any finalist positions, but it's for track position to try to get the best of what you can off the first championship race.
Yep, even if you aren't able to qualify, you'll still get points for your finishing position in this last chance qualifying.
You'll just get more points if you're in the top 4. There's my best Will Buxton impression. How we doing?
Yep. The greater your position, the greater the points, and you want more points to win the season.
Speaking of points to win the season, Randy is holding off 4th place, letting Aiden get away in 3rd. Randy's going to be He's turned on that stonewall defense that he learned from Scott Miller. He's not going to let him by. Randy has declared, you shall not pass. Randy is going to do whatever he can to maintain 4th place and make it into the final to prevent Aiden Flynn nor Nick Armstrong to get into that final, which is unfortunate as Aiden sneaks on the inside. But the inside's going to turn to the outside of 1. We're going to see if Randy can get the cutback, which he does. But now Aiden's going to try to fight back. We have side-by-side down the front straight. Aiden versus Randy. Randy on the inside. It's a momentum battle. Randy has that momentum to take the inside of turn 1 and maintain 4th place. And all that fighting lets Nick get even closer. We have a 3-way pressure cooker for 4th place, the last spot to get into the final.
Yep, this is where all the pressure's at, where all the battling's going to be happening. It looks like Aiden is aware of Nick behind him and takes a defensive line through top of the world. So as not to give that up quite easily to Nick.
Aiden is flinging everything at Randy to see what sticks, but it's really risky because now Nick is right up to the back bumper of Aiden. So what's probably going to happen, this is going to explode and someone's going to lose out big time.
Yep, he's already pushing for 2 wide, but it just doesn't work. He just gets pinched off and nothing's going to happen from that, and I feel like Aiden actually loses out in there for not having the momentum to get out of the back straight. But he's going to be looking up on the inside anyway through turn 3, and there's just not enough room for that there. And Aiden was just too aggressive. He has to start going on the defensive now to worry about Nick, who's coming up behind him there, and he might just need to reconsolidate and focus on how he can actually attack Randy instead of just throwing blind attacks.
Yeah, so the fight is on. It's still on. Aiden really sniffing out Randy, trying to find any weakness he can to get into that 4th place position. Meanwhile, it must be really frustrating for Nick to be stuck behind these two, just trying to get by, because he knows if he can get past these two, he's going to be into the final. Really good performance from Nick today.
Yep. And, of course, with the benefit of no one being behind him, he can take the most optimal lines, and it works out for him as he pulls up side by side with Aiden, but he's stuck on the outside and wisely backs out of that before it becomes even more chaotic.
This is what I meant earlier by Aiden being overly aggressive. It puts himself at risk to be attacked by Nick, who's right behind him. And while this may be Nick's first race out here, he knows that if he sees an opening, he's going to go for it.
Aiden has the momentum, and he's able to put it up on the inside through turn 3, and Randy is a lot later on the brakes and is able to hold out his momentum, hold Aiden narrow, and keep that defense, and Aiden compromised. Nick moves up on the inside. Aiden's going to try everything he can to not lose that position, and he gets the inside through turn 1, but will that be enough? Will Nick have more momentum as I go side by side through it? Nick with the inside into roller coaster, and that's Aiden losing out there. He falls down to 6.
I literally just called that. The risk that you take when battling for a position, you risk losing out to the guy behind. And that let Nick through. Nick really capitalized on Aiden's aggression and swiped right through into 5th place. So now it's up to Nick to fend off Aiden and catch up to 4th, which Nick leaves the door open.
Nick doesn't know the defensive line, it looks like, through top of the world, but it doesn't matter. He has enough momentum to still hold on to it.
It may not matter for position, but it matters for pace. Because Nick, in doing so, leaving the door open, they fight, and now the gap to Randy has opened up. He's won the battle, but he's losing the war.
Yeah, it looks like Nick just needs to know that he needs to keep it on the inside of top of the world there, so that way Aiden can't get past and compromise his line a little bit. Thankfully, he was saved with the great pace of his kart through bus stop and was able to pull on ahead, but he can't let that happen again.
The good news for Nick is that he does have the pace to catch up to Randy. We can see that gap slowly closing, and I pulled up the lap times to demonstrate that. So, really, Nick's biggest enemy here is himself. He doesn't quite have all the race experience required to fend off Aiden, as we saw him leave the door open in top of the world. That's a fundamental mistake that you learn early on not to do. Trust me, I've made that mistake one too many times. More than I like to admit. But he's doing really well to be that far up, and we'll see what he can do against Randy, who's normally a finalist. He has the pace to catch Randy, and he knows the fast line through, but that's not necessarily the racing line to make an overtake. So we see him catching up. Let's see what he can do against Randy to see if he can make it into the final, or if he'll just have to settle for the best finishing spot of the LCQ without being promoted.
Yeah, and it looks like Manny is right on the back of Todd a little bit, but just hasn't been able to get past Todd. Todd figured out how to defend, and he's just had Manny locked down.
And it looks like the dive overtake down the inside. It's really hard on the brakes to get that braking right, but now they're side by side, but Randy keeps his foot in the door. He's now going to have the inside of 3. He's going to be stuck. Nick's going to be stuck on the outside, but he manages to close the door before Aiden can get a foot in. Great. So that was a really good attempt by Nick. Unfortunately, didn't quite make it stick, but he's not going to give it up.
Great defensing.
He tucks back behind Randy. He's knowing not to go over aggressive, but he's going to go into turn 1. This is going to get dicey.
Oh. It looked like there was a lot of rotation on that rear tire there. I thought he was for sure going to spin it there, but too wide through the double apex there, and it looks like Aiden almost had an in there, but Nick
Aiden made it past.
The position.
Aiden made it past.
Oh, Aiden made it past.
Yes, Nick, he sent it. He licked the stamp. He sent it, but unfortunately the stamp didn't count for the amount of weight of the package. So it was sent back, and now Aiden's fighting Randy, really trying to force his way through, and that lets Nick get on by. There's a lot of contact. They're all really jockeying for position. We're running out of time to make these overtakes, and Nick finds his way back. And he has a really good run down the back straight. Randy on the inside, Nick on the outside. He can almost make the move back, but he brakes way too early. Nick brakes way too early.
Probably looking for an undercut, but Aiden was just there to capitalize on that. And with Randy's line compromised, Aiden's able to get past Randy and retake 4th place. But the fighting is still intense between Randy and Nick in the back there as they go side by side across the front straight. This battle of 3 is super intense.
Yeah, so these 3 are giving us tremendous battles. I know it usually boils down to an intense fight for 4th place, but this is one of the best fights we've seen in an LCQ. And we see Nick trying to go down the inside of double apex. Doesn't quite work because Randy will just get him back on a light bulb. Randy has been racing here longer than I have, and that I've been racing here for 3 years. So Randy is very privy to all these attacks that Nick is throwing at him. Nick probably very frustrated that Randy can see every one of his moves coming. So this is a really good battle, but it's also a good demonstration of the experience gap at play. We have veteran Randy fending off 4th place from rookie Nick, who, don't get me wrong, Nick is doing a fantastic job keeping up the aggression and pressure, and finds himself on the inside going into 3, but why did he back out of it?
He knows
really
that.
good discipline there.
He knows that
If
Randy
Nick
has
went
that.
for that move, I don't think he would have made it. He wasn't far alongside enough. So that was good to tuck back out.
Also, there's been several moves thrown at Randy this way, but Randy just has that defensive maneuver down pat. He just hovers it around the outside, holds the attacker narrow, and makes it so that way they can't go out too wide. And that allows Randy to keep the position.
Randy defending the inside. And they're gonna tuck back in. Aiden's still keeping his nose in, just waiting for an opportunity to strike. Randy being extremely defensive without sacrificing his pace. I'd like to emphasize how difficult that is to do.
Randy is just making his cart super wide.
They make it look easy, but believe me, it's very difficult to not sacrifice your pace while still defending. All this fighting is letting Cole and Flynn catch up, actually. We may have a four-way battle by the end of the race.
The top three are still quite close and close, but the battle for fourth still rages on.
Battle for fourth, really intense.
Aiden gets past.
Aiden gets by. Aiden sneaks by and takes fifth place away. Now it's Aiden's turn to see what he can do against Randy. Randy has just been the stone wall holding up these two, which is, honestly, more power to him. It's a very defensive drive from Randy, and honestly, Randy's doing the right thing for his position. The top three, Aiden Romine, the other Aiden, has been badgering Manny for second place, but Todd has been keeping a pretty decent half-second gap ahead of Manny, but overall, the top three, they're not fighting too hard. They're fighting, but not that hard. Not nearly as hard as the battle for fourth.
The final lap flag is being waved.
White flag, final lap. If you're going to make a move, make a count now.
All right.
We may see the powder keg finally explode this lap.
Well, I would say
last chance to get Randy into fourth.
I would say this is the time to be aggressive, but they've been showing all-out aggressive all race. There's been no tactics that I've seen employed here aside from just constantly trying to throw overtakes. And now this might be where the pressure boils over and we might see a mistake as someone tries to give more than the 100% that I've been seeing them give.
Yeah, because there's a limit to how aggressive you can be before you overcook it and just send yourself off into the grass. Don't ask me how I know that. But many such cases, but so far they all are kind of keeping it calculated, and Cole and Flynn has caught up to this pack of four. We could see this explode. Cole and Flynn having a sniff around the outside compromises his momentum, and unfortunately that builds the gap too much, but that also damages Nick's chances of getting back. Really unfortunate as Aiden slips by into turn three, but Randy's gonna have the outside.
We have to look at the winners here as Todd takes first place, Manny second, Aiden third, and now we go back to the battle for fourth of who will qualify.
Aiden left the door open, but Randy couldn't capitalize on it. It's a photo finish to the line, and let's see who gets it. It's Aiden Flynn takes away the spot on the last lap.
Randy did such a good job.
Really brilliant drive from all three of them today.
Randy did such a brilliant job defending the whole race, but just was unable to keep back Aiden, as both the Aidens make it into the final, along with Todd and Manny. We'll see you there when that 24 carts line up. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the final race. This will be the first final of the fall season. Everyone's points are zeroed out, so this is everyone's chance to get the lead of the championship. It's always good to have that early lead. It's a nice breathing room that you get, and of course you can just establish where you're going to be on that field before it gets harder to climb some points mountains that you might see later on in the season. This is where first impressions are made, as all 24 carts are lining up for their rolling start.
All right, worth noting, Davidson Man starting on pole. Let's see if he can convert that to a win. That's about all the time I have for names. As we pan to the flag bearer, they enter the front straight. I'll get more info shortly.
The flag's waved and they're away. We're going to see some breakaways near the middle of the pack here. Not too much at the front of the pack as they all go barreling in to roller coaster, 24 carts. Are they going to keep it all together? It looks like they're doing it so far. Some people flying around the outside of roller coaster right
Sam
there.
took the lead.
Get all their momentum through roller coaster. And up in the lead, we have Sam taking it with Davidson right behind him. And then, of course, everything falling into place after that as we get a huge line with some 2 and 3 wide action near the back end of top of the light bulb. And into the bus stop, our leaders go.
So it looks from my point of view, standing so far, Sam, Davidson, Spencer, Ethan with a new race suit, and Paulo. Paulo in 5th. In 6th. Afterwards, that's going to be...
2 wide through the corners through here. Are they going to be able to keep it clean? They're going to line it up out through there. This is where we're going to see our first real overtaking attempts as everything's been lined up and momentum gained and drafts sat in.
Now, it's funny. We got Sergey in 7th and Alex fighting for 8th, but it's a different Alex. It's Alex Acosta, not Alex Seguin. Normally, Alex Seguin and Sergey are the ones that are together on track, but not this time.
Yep, and now the first lap has been completed with Sam holding the lead, Davidson right behind him, giving him a little bit of a bump draft going into roller coaster. Trying to break away from the pack behind him because, as we saw a lot in the previous LCQ,
Davidson's fighting for the lead.
When you throw a bunch of attacks, you compromise your chance of holding that position that you have. And so even with them trying to play it tactically and not go for too many overtakes, I'm seeing 2x2 within that top 5 up there into top of the world with Paulo looking to make a move around the outside of top of the world. Will he get it done? He does get it done into bus stop, and he moves up into 4th.
Not quite.
Oh, wait, not quite. His inside is a little bit open, but he gets the inside for the next corner.
Now he makes the
finally secure it.
Now, that was a brilliant move by Paulo, but it was fought really hard by Spencer, who dropped back even further afterwards. Spencer, not having a great day, he just lost 2 positions in the span of like a quarter of the racetrack. And that lets Paulo try to catch up to the top 3 who are fighting amongst each other. Davidson dropping back to 3rd. He was leading the race. But currently leading the race is Sam, who's getting away with it, followed by Ethan Acosta in a new race suit. That new race suit's really working out for him. As
Davidson throws up a move on the inside of turn 1.
All this fighting's letting Paulo catch up. Don't fight too hard, guys.
It was temporarily too wide, but not quite as they go in there. And we got a lot of battles going into the roller coaster further behind some 3 wide, 2 wide action. But they all sorted out just before going into roller coaster because they do not want to be on the camera as a huge dust cloud.
So, a nice news story here. You may notice that our championship contenders and leaders from last season are not in the top 3 positions. This is because they started towards the midfield today. They weren't having the best pace today. As you can see, Paulo in 4th. He won the championship. We see in 7th is Stephen Barrett, who came in 2nd in the championship last season. Currently fighting in the backpack. They're not having the best race today. Not the best start to their seasons if they want to keep up that championship streak.
Yep. He is able to slot in behind Sergey, though, despite being what it looks like pushed out a little wide there. He just does everything he can to hold it together and do what he can. But I'm seeing him lose a dramatic amount of pace at the end of that straight right there. He just doesn't have the top end on that cart.
So Sam's still leading the race, but it looks like he's not running off with it. Ethan and Davidson are actually catching up. Let me pull up those lap times for you, and we can see just the pace differences that they have. So we see Ethan is actually catching. He has the pace to catch up to Sam. Sam's not setting the best laps, and Davidson's just right behind him.
At the end of the straight, someone actually made a move on Paulo around the outside.
Sebastian.
Paulo's kart also not showing that much straight line speed as he gets overtaken around the outside and Paulo falls down to 5th.
Yeah, that was Sebastian. Sebastian, who came in 3rd in the championship last season, he's also fighting his way up. So our previous championship leaders are on the back foot to the start of the season, and we may have a new race winner today, depending on what happens. There's still a lot of race to go.
Yep, 20-minute races these are between the LCQ and the final. But difference between LCQ and finals, there's a lot more points here, and there's a podium you get to step on if you finish in that top 3.
Ethan takes the lead. Ethan dove down the inside and took the lead away from Sam.
That battle's still going on, though, as they go 2 wide going into turn 2, but then it gets straightened out.
Ethan playing those mind games. He's telling Sam to play nice. How do you play nice when you're fighting for the lead of the race? You have nothing to lose. Get in there. And Sam reclaims the lead of the race. He's not going to play nice. We're going to play ball. Here we go. We're going to have a battle for the lead.
The top three really able to run away with it. Davidson just watching this glorious duel going on in front of him, hoping that he can pick up some pieces if they fight a little bit too hard.
I think that's what Ethan was trying to hint at with that helmet tap, saying, hey, let's play this smart, because Davidson, who started on pole, is now in third, and he's going to be really hungry to take that leading spot back. And if Ethan and Sam fight too hard, that's going to give Davidson a great opportunity to not only take the lead of the race back, but to also give those carts behind him a chance to catch up, which they look to be catching up.
Yeah, that gap between third and fourth is not so big. And then we can see Paulo stuck in the draft behind fifth place, possibly.
Another lead change. You missed it. Every time you take that camera off the lead, Ethan dives down the inside and reclaims the lead of the race into turn 3. All you missed was that Ethan took the inside line into turn 3 and did a successful late break dive bomb to catch Sam off guard. And Ethan comfortably claims the lead of the race. Sam not giving it up. He's right behind him. Gonna see if he can take that lead back. Davidson, not much he can do, it seems, as we start to enter the middle stages of the race.
Something interesting to note is Paulo taking defensive lines into roller coaster.
Well, Paulo knows that he's going to need to keep up with Sebastian, and he knows Sebastian's going to want to catch up to the top 3 because they're championship winners. Let's face it. So they're going to try to play it patiently and not try to fight too much here. It doesn't seem, however, that Paulo has the pace today, as we see a gap forming between Sebastian and Paulo, and Spencer catching up to Paulo.
Yeah, it looks to be in the low-speed corners in which he loses a lot of time. And here we are. Paulo not able to have a draft right now. Sixth place just closing in on him, but not quite enough to commit to that overtake, as Paulo is now really in danger here of getting overtaken on the next draft opportunity.
Sam looking around the outside to see if he has that momentum. He doesn't quite have it, so he's just going to stay on the outside of Ethan, who takes a defensive line through one, as well he should. We have a side-by-side into fourth place. Sebastian has caught up to Davidson. So now Davidson is under fire from not only Sebastian, but also Paulo and Spencer. So we have a two-way battle for the lead and a four-way battle for third.
Yep, everyone's these 4 carts racing for that final step of the podium, but although it looks like they separate into their own separate duels, as we got 4 groups of 2 that are going to be looking to engage in that duel to get that pass done, as we do not see a draft train forming quite yet.
Because of all the pressure, if I were Sam, I'd be really badgering Ethan for that lead of the race. And it looks like he's going to be doing that. He's got really good momentum. They have pace. But he's just got to find the opportunity to take the lead. Sam taking those optimal racing lines, leaving the door open because he now knows that there's no one threatening him. The gap has slightly opened up enough to let Sam be aggressive for the lead of the race. As he goes side by side, trying to get that momentum down the front straight, but he just doesn't have it. But who does have it is everyone behind Davidson. Davidson having to go full defensive. He wanted to win the race, but now he has to defend the last podium spot.
And it looks like
Sebastian snuck his way through double apex, but Davidson takes a super defensive line, forcing everyone behind him to react accordingly, and they all wisely don't battle too hard into light bulb and top of the world. Otherwise, that could have gotten really messy.
As Sergey now joins the fray.
Oh boy, we're going to have a Davidson train. We have a 6-way battle for third place.
Davidson no longer looking to fight for that first place unless there's a huge mistake made by the top 2.
Sam right on the back bumper of Ethan, but let's focus on Davidson because that's where most of the action looks like it's going to happen. Sebastian having a sniff around the outside, thinking not otherwise. Paulo still catching up.
The train is becoming ever more solid as they start to become more bumper to bumper there. And we're going to see how things kick off in this draft train. As
Sebastian round the outside.
Sebastian gets the move done around the outside and roller coaster on Davidson, demoting Davidson down to fourth and Sebastian up into that podium.
And let's see if Sebastian can run away with this, because he knows Davidson has to be on the defensive. It doesn't look like Davidson has the pace today to fight back. So far, though, the top two have just been running away with it, but Sebastian may catch up. Now it's Paulo's turn to see if he can get past Davidson and resume the fight with Sebastian.
This train looking really intense as they go through the two corners through there, the S corners leading into the back straight. This is the draft opportunity. This is where people could maybe throw some moves, but it doesn't look like anyone has like the pace to catch up and throw those moves.
Paulo giving hand signals to Spencer. Don't want to fight too hard. Don't want to lose too much time. I know Spencer will oblige because it looks like they're all playing nice because they all really want to maximize gain and minimize loss, obviously. So, still a pressure cooker boiling for this third place spot. Sebastian is not running away with it, actually. They all have relatively equal paces, but that may be just because Sebastian and Davidson are dictating the pace. But are they catching up to the leaders? They are. They are slowly but surely catching up to the leaders. Let me get that gap up. They're gapping about 0.3 seconds, and they're 1.7 seconds behind. So, depending on how the leaders go, if the leaders don't kick it into high gear, they may catch up by the end of the race. The race is still on.
Yep, another time through the S corners here, through turn 4, into the back straight. This is where we're seeing where they gain all the time with all the little bump drafting that goes on here. And as I say that, of course, none of that happens. There doesn't appear to be a super strong draft at this point. I don't feel any wind, and it doesn't feel like any of these carts are able to close in on each other. But maybe Sebastian is going fast enough and creating enough of a draft that all the other carts are just able to keep up, and Sebastian is just towing them along. But now things kick off, too wide with Davidson and Paulo. Paulo making a move around the outside of Davidson, secures that position, secures that fourth place spot from Davidson.
All right, so a lot happened in those short corners, but Paulo managed to get by Davidson. Davidson not having the best day. This is all because I jinxed him in his heat race when he won it. Oh dear, I really need to stop doing that.
And it looks like further drama is happening further along, as I saw someone going super slow along the back straight, putting their hand to their heads, but they needed to get on the power a little bit because there are people coming up real fast on them. Yeah, it looks like the rest of the track is really spread out, so there must have been a lot of chaos back there, as all of the consolidated close racing is happening near the front of the pack, whereas further back everything's super spread out.
Davidson's fighting back against Paulo, but he's gonna have the outside of one unless he can close the door, which he does not. Paulo sneaks his way in, but that means Davidson's gonna have the better exit. It's gonna be side by side, and Paulo's stuck on the outside. Spencer gets by. It's gonna be side by side into turn 1. Paulo's actually dropping back from that move. Paulo loses 3 positions. Critically, one of those positions was Stephen Barrett getting by. So Paulo, our previous championship, our defending champion, is on the back foot to start the season.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot to climb up through there. Maybe he can get through, but it looks like someone else is trying to make a move around the outside at the back of the pack here. That might be Alex Seguin, it looks like.
That is Alex Seguin.
Yeah, Alex Seguin trying to make a move around the outside. Not quite Not quite happening there, as now Paulo is behind Sergey, a familiar battle that we've seen before.
And we have a huge battle for fourth. The top three seem to be playing nice because they're just gaps too far.
Before that was top two. Did Sebastian catch up?
Sebastian is catching up to Sam. Sam gave Sebastian the hand signal to say, let's catch up to the lead. And we'll see when Sebastian catches up if he's going to play nice. We're entering the late stages of the race. That was a good move by Steven, sneaking past Spencer into turn 2 to take 5th place. So now Steven, who does have his GoPro on, is fighting Davidson for 4th.
Alex again trying to make a move around the outside of Paulo. Paulo leaves the space. It was a very risky move from Alex there. And Alex loses a lot of time, and so does Paulo from having to defend against that. They might break off the toe. No, it looks like Paulo's right back onto the back of Sergey. And we'll try to hold as many positions as it can and just minimize the points loss.
In all that squabbling, Sebastian completely ignores any hand signal from Sam and just takes 2nd place away. There wasn't even much of a fight, it looked like. Sebastian's just like, no, I'm just going to pass you. And he did, in commanding fashion. Let's look at the pace difference to see if Sebastian can actually catch up to the leader, which it looks like he might be able to. With the amount of pace he has, we only have a couple laps left, but if Ethan can't get complacent with his lead, because Sebastian's on a charge. Sebastian's going to be giving everything to catch up. It's the white flag. Final lap.
Final lap. That looks like too big of a gap, but we'll see what Sebastian is able to pull out in this final lap, trying to get not just 2nd place on the podium. That isn't enough. He wants the lead. He's going for it. And another move from Alex onto Paulo, trying to get that move around the outside that he's seen Paulo do. And it looks like this time he's able to do it. Paulo falls back 1 position further.
That is really unfortunate for Paulo. Paulo, this may be his dropped race of the season, because only your top 7 finishes out of the 8-race season get calculated towards your point. So it's really unfortunate that Paulo may be having his worst finish of the season to start the season. He's going to have to really bring 100%, as if he doesn't bring 100%.
And back to the lead of the race, Sebastian didn't see the gap that we saw because it's disappeared. He is now right on his tail in the draft for this final back straight. This is probably the best opportunity for a clear-cut overtake as he tries to make a move. Maybe on the inside. Nope. He's going to stay in line, just try to be as fast as he can and try to pip him at the line on the final corner. So they go into turn 2. He's just going to try to be as stealthy as he can to try to surprise attack for the lead. Will the leader catch on to this? He goes in for the most optimal line, maybe tries to go for an undercut. Is the pace there? It's nearly side by side, but it's not quite there. Sebastian isn't able to claim the lead, and it's side by side further back as a huge squabble furthers in their position, and the podium has been decided. We have a new race leader, right?
What?
New race leader, right?
I'm pretty sure, I think Ethan's won before, but we'll get that clarified in the podium. However, commanding drive from our top 3 today, Ethan, Sebastian, and Sam. Very well deserved today. Congratulations, they're taking home trophies, and we will see you at that podium.
First of all, thank you for coming out. Round 1 of our new season. Every 2 weeks, just like normal. Nothing else is any different this year. Thanks for coming out. That was a good race to watch in the final out there. The top pack was going back and forth the whole time, and it was great. I appreciate that. Coming in 3rd place out there with the best lap of 344, finishing half second off the lead. Sam Shimareco. Coming in 2nd place, the best lap of a 78.089, finishing a quarter second off the lead. We got Sebastian. Nice job, dude. And taking the top spot, I believe his first win in the league racing out here. Best lap time of 78.4. I think he led all but maybe 1 or 2 laps out there the whole race. First place, Ethan Acosta. Three, 2,